How do you think that I was able to acquire all the real estate holdings and all the other things that I have by working a job at Jack in the Box? Do you think I was able to save up hundreds of thousands of dollars working a job at Jack in the Box? Nope. Smartest thing I did, I'll tell you right now, the smartest thing I did.
Welcome to Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. Here's your host, Marcus.
Hey, welcome to another episode of Secrets of a Sugar Daddy. And I am doing this show solo. So this could be very interesting. I think since I'm doing it solo, let's go over some emails. I have been getting lots of emails. Matter of fact, as I was sitting here getting ready for the show, this one came in, and I want to read it to you, and let's kind of go over some of these things that they address, because they ask a lot of good questions. So it says, "Hi, I've been listening to your podcast and other podcasts for several weeks now after a friend suggested I try the Seeking site. I am intrigued, and I am realizing sugaring is not escorting." You know what? That's one of the things that we're trying to get the word out and trying to make less of a stigma that sugaring is not prostitution. I know there's a very fine line and it can be blurred easily. These sugar babies that I have, actually they're relationships, and I care for these people and I'm helping these people and they're helping me, and we form a pretty strong bond for the most part, and many of them become very good friends of mine. Now, if I was looking for a prostitute, I don't think I would have that kind of relationship. So it's not like that. Matter of fact, me personally, I have gone out on dates plenty of times where there is no sex involved, and I still try to help them out financially. So sugaring is not escorting, and that's what this email is realizing. So onward with it, says, which is awesome news to me. Listening to you makes me think I should have tried this less time-intensive dating a decade ago. Men always want more time from me than I have, so this formula seems like a win-win. Marcus is always referring to how he checks out the women who contact him. Skip tracing, as he calls it. Due diligence, I call it. This is smart. Hey, I'm glad this listener realized that, because other people have accused me of stalking, and it's not stalking. I have a business that I have grown over the many years, and if something goes wrong, somebody could hurt my business badly. They might even destroy it. So I have got to be pretty careful with the people that I come in contact with, the people that I do help financially, because a lot of these people, they have a lot of issues. There's a reason that they are on the site. A lot of them are desperate and needy, and a lot of them have mental health issues. And it is what it is. You're going to find that on the regular dating sites. So I like that this listener acknowledges that due diligence, she calls it. This is smart, because I recommend that all of you do your due diligence. If they do use a phone number that's their actual number, try to look it up. Try to get some background on them. I think it's very smart that you do that. Now, a lot of people have taken our advice, fortunately and unfortunately, and they're using Google Voice or other texting apps, and so you cannot look them up through their phone number, which actually is the smart thing to do if you're cyber dating. You don't want a guy or a girl having your real number. You should always have a secondary number. But if they do use their real number, if they feel comfortable with that, there's some apps out there. I personally use White Pages, and they have information about numbers. A lot of times when you punch them in, it's a small fee. But to me, it's worth it, because then usually I can go on Facebook or Instagram, or even just type into Google their name. If it's a unique name, sometimes it's generic name. You know, I'm not going to be able to find Alice Smith or, John Wood or something like that. But if it's a unique name, a lot of times they come up and they actually use their same profile picture on Seeking as they do on Facebook or Instagram. I have found people that way. I've been able to vet them, kind of figure out if they're a real profile or not. I've actually punched in names and found mugshots. Now, do you think that information is important to me? Absolutely. Because if I punch in somebody's name and see a mugshot, I know that I've got to be extra careful with this one. Now, yes, some people get mugshots when they get a DUI. That's not a deal breaker for me. There's probably plenty of times that I should have gotten one that I didn't. So I get it. But if I see a mugshot and they've just gotten out of jail or prison for drug use or robbery or some other violent crime, then I should really steer away from that one. And these things have actually happened to me. I was pretty new on the site, and it was a Sunday, and I thought, you know what? It sure would be nice to find somebody on here who can accompany me for lunch. That would be great. So I found somebody, and she volunteered, and she said, yeah, I'll go to lunch with you if you'll come pick me up in this part of town that was a little bit seedy. She didn't say that. I just knew that part of town, and I'll have somebody babysit my daughter. And actually, I'm already there, so I'm already at my babysitter's. But when I tried to call her, she wouldn't answer, and she just texts me back, says, hey, I can't talk on the phone right now. But her phone number came up on my caller ID program, and I was able to get her real name. So fortunately, as I'm driving down there, I had stopped for gas. As I was filling up my vehicle, I typed her name into Google, and up came a mugshot. She had literally gotten out of jail 3 days earlier for meth charges. Yeah, I didn't go on that date. I messaged her, let her know that, hey, something came up and I wasn't going to be able to make it. And do you think she blew up my phone? Absolutely. Was I naive enough at the time to use my real number? Yes, I did. Now, fortunately for me, nothing ever became of that, but that was a quick, hard lesson. Why? I shouldn't use my main number. I should always have a secondary number. And why? If I can find them on the internet, on Google, on Facebook, on Instagram, somewhere on social media, and just do a little background research. It definitely can pay off on not getting yourself in sticky situations. All right, on with the message. I imagine there are a crap ton of shady ladies on the site, and daddies too. Yeah, I just pointed out a story that happened to me. This makes me nervous. I am an extremely private person. How do I find out or know the methods or resources someone might use to discover my real identity, house, phone, etc.? And again, on that White Pages app, not only will it give you the name of the person, but it'll also give you relatives' names, and it'll give you an address if you know it. And I have literally gotten people's addresses and Google Earthed or did the street view of where they actually lived. Now, am I a stalker? I don't think so. I am doing my diligence before I meet this person because I have a lot at stake. So I need to be smart about my dating. And this is whether it's on Seeking, whether it's on Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, any of those others, Match.com. You should really take the same approach because Seeking is a dating site. Now, there are some different expectations from the site, and we've talked about those in length in our episodes, and we're going to continue talking about those. But you should do that no matter what site you're on, as long as you are cyber dating. Be smart. So on with the email. It says, how can I check myself out and or check out the potential daddies? I have a Google phone number I use for my healthcare clients. It is not published on the web. I wonder if I can use that number, or could Marcus look that up and find me out? No, I don't think I could figure who you are through your Google number. I haven't been able to do that yet. I put my Google number on this note as a challenge to see if you can find me out. Oh, so I just got this message, and so she's already challenged me. So I'll try. I'll see if I can't cross-trace her. If you can't, then I know my Google number is safe, and I'll use it versus some other number, service, because I don't think Google will let you have two Google numbers, but I prefer a Google number. And actually, I believe they do. I haven't tried that, but I believe that they do allow more than one number. That's a good question. I'll let you know that. I'll experiment with that after the show, and I'll let you know my findings. Okay, onward. Also, what about payment? I know cash is king, but with services like Venmo and PayPal, they can easily know my real identity, right? Okay, I'm going to let you guys in on a little secret. I have the cash. And if that's the only way that someone can accept help or financial assistance, I'll go ahead and pay them cash. But I always ask for their PayPal or Venmo because, yes, their names are tied to it. And if I haven't been able to figure out who they are, first and last name, a lot of times I will get that from their Venmo or PayPal. I've had people chuckle as they give me their number. They're like, well, I guess you know my real name now. And then I can cross-trace them and find out a little bit more. Now, I know it's a little bit after the fact. Anytime you can get their full name and do a little bit of research on them, then whether it's before or after, it's beneficial. Okay, on with the email. I am just trying to cover all my bases before I sign up on the site in a week or two when I am back in Austin. Oh, I'm headed to Austin actually tomorrow. I wonder if I can get in touch with this one and maybe have a face-to-face learning session, a little face-to-face advice. If there is a code you use to get credit for signups, I would be happy to use it on the site as a signup. Okay, Seeking.com. We are not sponsored by you, and she is going to sign up on the site because of this podcast. It would be nice to get a little financial reward for it. We'll talk later. This podcast is well done and has really piqued my interest in trying this out and feeling confident and positive about it. Thanks for all the great info, Amy and Angie too. Sexy voices. Yeah, I agree. They do sound sexy. And we are working on our broadcast voice. I know we say a lot of ums, likes, ands, buts, so's, but you know what? We're not professional voice models. We don't do professional. We're not in Hollywood. We're not actors. We are real people, and we are glad you are enjoying the show. And it's just getting better and better. I don't know what you guys think, but these episodes lately have just taken some turns that shock me even. And I did start the podcast for kind of some shock value because of some of the things that I've encountered, some of the people I've met, and the stories I have, and the adventures I have. I just don't want to lose those. I wanted to write them down, wanted to maybe publish a book or publish a blog or something. But I think this has been a great outlet for those stories and those adventures. And we're sure having fun with other people sharing their stories and adventures with us. Some of the guests we've had have been off the hook, and I am getting even more emails. Matter of fact, I'm about to share another one. Anyway, she wrapped this email up and said, P.S. Feel free to share this content with your audience. Just don't share my phone number. Haha. So I want to thank, her first name is Sugar. Her last name is Curious. So we want to thank Sugar Curious for the message I got just a few minutes ago. And she had gone to our website, secretsofasugardaddy.com, and left that feedback. So thank you. On to the next one. Here's a really interesting one. Now, I am in the process of setting this gentleman up. I just got this message yesterday. He is a doctor in California. So let me go over this one. This one's pretty good. I can't wait to actually have him as a guest. So we're going to get him on here. And I'll repeat this email. But since I have some free time today, I thought maybe I would go over some of the feedback we're getting, some of the emails, and answer a few questions. All right, I just got this one yesterday. It says, I found your show a couple of weeks ago and binge listened and am caught up and love it. Now we're over 20 episodes, so I appreciate you guys binge listening. I've had a few people who told me that, and I know they're about 45 to 55 minutes a piece, and so it does take some time to listen to 20 plus episodes, but it does really go quickly. I listen to them every now and then just to kind of remember what we talked about in past episodes, remember what guests have said, remember subjects that we might have touched on that we want to touch on in the future. And I find that the show really makes my day go quickly, and I still chuckle out loud. I think some of our best shows so far, I would recommend, if this is your first time listening or you're a new listener, believe it or not, I would start with maybe episode 9. I think it's titled, Did Seeking.com Change the Sugar Baby's Life? And it's about an older sugar baby who actually became a co-host of mine, that's Angie, on how she found the site and how, after 20 years of marriage, becoming a sugar baby or partaking in this lifestyle has really changed her life for the better. And through her, I have met many people and actually interviewed a sugar daddy a couple times, Joseph. Those episodes are great too, but I would definitely start with episode 9 and then maybe go back and start even at 1 and go on. I mean, every episode is so unique. Every episode has its own characteristics. We talk about so many subjects and lots of tips and advice. So to binge listen, you don't have to go in chronological order. You can just pick out a topic or a title maybe that intrigues you. And I've got a lot of description too underneath of what each episode entails and kind of the things that we talk on. Of course, I couldn't put it all in there because they're an hour long, but I try to sum up some of the highlights of each episode. So read through the descriptions. You're going to find some very interesting subjects, interesting topics, interesting stories that we get into. I mean, good night. A few episodes ago, we talked about when the she is really the he. That was one of the first times we got into that subject, and it got pretty interesting. Anyway, back to this message I got yesterday from the doctor. He said he's caught up and he loves it. I'm a plastic surgeon. I live in Southern California and have been on SA since 2014. I jumped on there, I believe, in 2016, so he got a little bit of a head start. I was in a 22-year marriage, he says, that ended then, but had a rebound marriage to a stripper that only lasted a year and been on SA ever since. I love now how he realizes that was a rebound marriage. And it's funny that he says it's a stripper because I wonder where he met her. But anyway, we're going to find all that out when we get him on the show. He goes on to say, I have met well over 100 women from site, and I have learned so much and have some crazy stories. Currently, I have 2 women I have been with for the past 2 years and love my life just the way it is. I don't think I could ever be with just one for a lot of the reasons why you guys discuss. I wish I had a podcast like this when I first started out. It would have saved me a lot of money and grief. I agree. I would love to be on your podcast and tell my experience and stories. So I have reached out to him, and we are going to get him scheduled here in the near future. So look for that episode coming soon. Excited to have a plastic surgeon and hear what his stories are. Meeting over 100 women from the site, you're going to get a few crazy stories, actually more than your share. So I can just imagine. I have probably, in the 6 years I've been on the site now, I guess almost 6 years, I've probably met well over 100 women also. But all in all, I've only been on the site less than 10 times because I'll sign up for a month, and then usually after a month, I have enough prospects that I'm trying to wind down or trying to narrow down who I want to be in a longer-term relationship, because I actually do enjoy the long-term ones. I don't like bouncing around from person to person. It can be kind of exciting, the newness. How is she going to be? Are our personalities going to match? How is she going to be sexually? It can be kind of exciting, but after a while, you do enjoy the company of 1 or 2 people that can really experience life with you. I like to go to Vegas. And Vegas is a very interesting place, and I can entertain myself just solo there. But it's so much fun seeing the face or the reactions of a partner that you might take with you to Vegas or even meet there in Vegas. And then you go to eat at some great restaurant or some interesting restaurant. I ate at a place at Planet Hollywood last weekend called the Sugar Factory. I had never been there, but she had seen it on TikTok, actually. Somebody that does reviews of restaurants in Vegas. Matter of fact, as we were sitting there, there was a group that was doing TikTok videos of the food, and the management just kept bringing out all these interesting drinks and meals, and they were doing a TikTok videos for that. And I'm not sure if the restaurant was paying them or they were getting some kind of benefit from it, but the person that I went to the restaurant with had seen this restaurant on TikTok and was so interested in trying it. And we did try it, and it was off the hook. Now, I believe it's owned by one of the Jenner girls. I believe Russell Simmons is actually an owner. We kind of looked it up. There is 4 or 5 partners in this restaurant, but their drinks were unlike anything that I'd ever had. Their food came out, and the presentation was unlike anything I'd ever seen. And I was able to watch my football games, and they had plenty of TVs. The bar was great. The atmosphere was great. So if you get a chance to try it, I highly recommend the Sugar Factory in Vegas at Planet Hollywood. It was a lot of fun. And we wouldn't have found it unless it was on TikTok, and I wouldn't have tried it if I wouldn't have had somebody there to accompany me. So I really enjoy sharing life, sharing experiences, sharing my knowledge, and I really enjoy sharing business, things I've learned in business, things I've learned how to make money, financial matters. I have somebody that I met on the site who I'm not in an arrangement with, but she is going to help me with some of my real estate dealings. As the paperwork has gotten kind of out of control, I am looking at purchasing more properties this year. I need help rehabbing these properties. I need help listing properties. I need help with my social media. I need help organizing my office. She is getting her real estate license, and she is younger. And I am excited to put her under my wing and show her the ropes. That is part of what a sugar daddy also does. Now, if she was a prostitute, I wouldn't be worrying about this stuff, right? So there is a huge difference. Is even though we're not in arrangement, I am still going to help her with knowledge, and ultimately it will be a financial boom for her because maybe she'll be able to bypass some of the mistakes that I made as a young real estate agent, as a young broker, as a young person or a newer person in the flipping business or in the remodeling business or in the investing business. You know, I have quite a portfolio now that seems kind of impressive, but people don't know. I actually worked at Jack in the Box. I literally was a manager at Jack in the Box, and when my employees didn't show up, I'm running the fucking drive-through. I am putting fries in the fryer. I am helping out on the grill. I did that. It wasn't handed to me on a silver spoon, but what I did is I realized this is not what I want to do with the rest of my life. How can I get to a better place? One thing that I am going to start asking the gentleman that we interview is because I think people will find it fascinating is where did your money come from? Did you inherit a lot of money or did you make it on your own? What kind of strategies did you use to make your money? Because I think we need to cover that more to give it a little bit of a broader perspective of how can you become a sugar daddy? How can you become financially independent? Whether you're a woman, a man, how can you get to the point of financial independence like the guest that we are interviewing? I haven't really touched on that much with the previous guest, but I was thinking about I really need to dive into that a little bit more because I think our audience will understand that most of us are very motivated. We don't take failure. We do fail, but we don't let failure dictate our life. And we strap up the boots. We get back to work. Not everything is successful. You know, I invest in real estate and I flip homes a lot. And I did it hard and heavy. Not as much now, but I did it hard and heavy for a long time. I didn't make money on every single house. There was a couple that I actually lost money. And I did a lot of work for free. And it sucked. But I didn't let that deter me. I just let it be a hard lesson to make better decisions and to learn and grow from those properties that I didn't make money on. What could I have done better? Did I spend too much money raising the ceiling? Was that a good return on investment? Come to find out, no, it wasn't a good return on investment. Somebody would have paid the same amount of money for that house, whether it had the 8-foot ceiling or whether I had the vaulted ceilings. It did not have a good return on investment for the money that I spent. And that's an actual case. I let one of my contractors talk me into a really cool upgrade to this house. He said, you know, what would be really nice is if these ceilings were vaulted, and I can do that, and it'll only cost this much. Well, I let him do that. It took so much extra time getting it done. Of course, it didn't cost what he said it would. It cost extra. It extended the time of the property, extended my interest that I'm paying. And you know what? I still was only able to get market value for the house. Now, this was many years ago. I know this market right now is a crazy hot market throughout the whole nation, and goofy things are happening. But in a normal market, I learned that sometimes certain upgrades don't actually increase the value of a house. So I learned where to put my money and what to do and what not to do. And I am thrilled to death to share those experiences with somebody who's just getting in the market, who's interested in the market, who maybe wants to flip homes or get into the real estate investing market or whatever you do. The sugar daddies that are going to come on the show, they're from all kinds of backgrounds. There's 1,000,000+ ways to make money. As you know, you can make it in crypto. You can make it in real estate. You can be a doctor. You can be a lawyer. You can be a business owner. You can own an ammunitions company. You can do whatever. Matter of fact, I know millionaires that own landscaping businesses. Yeah. They've got guys out in the heat and the sun, cutting bushes, digging trenches, and they become millionaires from this. Plumbers, electricians. I know plenty of millionaire air conditioning technicians. Believe it or not, you can become a millionaire in almost any industry that you pick as long as you want to expand and do it correctly. Now, it's very difficult becoming a millionaire or multi-millionaire working for somebody else. It can happen. There's plenty of bankers, plenty of investment advisors that do that, people that handle other people's money. There's all kinds of industries where people can work for someone and still become a millionaire. But I'm telling you, you have a 10 times better shot of becoming a millionaire by being your own boss, by firing your boss, doing your own thing. But here's the thing. You're going to work 80 hours a week, so you don't have to work that 40-hour-a-week job. And it sucks sometimes. And there's no accountability, and the buck stops with you. But we'll do a remodeling job, just to give you an example. I've got some of my crew right now. We're not flipping a home right now, so I've got them doing some remodeling. And we can make $2,000 or $4,000, $5,000 in a week, even $10,000 in a week. Now, do you think running a fryer at Jack in the Box, even if I managed that, I was the manager, I'm not making that kind of money. So basically, I had to fire my boss and become my own boss. Yeah, it was scary. I had a lot to learn. I made a lot of mistakes. But do you need money to do that? No, you don't need money to do that, actually. You know why? How do you think that I was able to acquire all the real estate holdings and all the other things that I have by working a job at Jack in the Box? Do you think I was able to save up hundreds of thousands of dollars working a job at Jack in the Box? Nope. Smartest thing I did, I'll tell you right now, the smartest thing I did, now this did take a little bit of money, but not a lot, is I joined a country club. So I played golf in college, and you may not play golf, but maybe you play tennis or swim, or maybe you just want to be in a social environment. But I joined a country club, and it wasn't very expensive to join. I did it during the recession. The initiation fees were in the low thousands, and I think my dues were only $600 or $700 a month. Now you can find a way to find $600 or $700 a month if you want to improve. And what I did is I started networking, and I met people at the country club. I met business owners. I met people with money. I met people that were retired. And as we interact, as we play golf, as we have dinner together, as we drink beers together, we talk business. It just naturally comes out. And then you kind of pipe in with some of your skill sets or your willingness to help with that. Or is there anything in your company that I can help you with? And as you gain their trust and they know you as a trustworthy, honorable person, the door's open. And even if they don't have something for you right then and there, they know people that do. And it's amazing where networking can take you. I know you've heard the adage, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I'm telling you, there's not a truer statement. I listen to Dave Ramsey, and I'm sure a lot of you do, and I do take most of his advice, and I think he's onto some really great things to help everyday people. But he's not the smartest person in his company. He's got 400 plus employees, 500 plus employees. And he openly says there's guys that know programming and have learned trades that he has no clue on how to do. There's many, many guys at his company that are much smarter than him. But what he was able to do was he became the boss, and he was able to hire these very smart people who don't really want to go out on their own. They don't have the desire yet to go out on their own. Maybe they just like the comfort of a good job, good benefits, a great work environment, and they work their ass off for him, and they make him a ton of money. And anytime you can make money while you sleep, money while you're on vacation, money while you are thinking about your next moves, and you've got people working for you, that's how you're going to succeed. And that's how you are going to get above the rest. And that's how you're going to enjoy the things that many of the men and women that I interview are enjoying. Is that the key to happiness in life? It's not the key. But working at Jack in the Box, say I'm making $40,000 to $50,000 a year. Now this was 20 years ago. I liked helping people, and I could do so much, but I could only do so much. I had limited resources, limited time, limited funds, and if somebody was in need, I would try to help them the best I could, but I just only had so much. Now that I have 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times what I had while working at Jack in the Box, I can help so many more people. My resources are far more expansive, and it's a great feeling. So becoming wealthy isn't the key to happiness. I heard that wealth actually makes good people better and bad people worse. So it just depends on what you want to do with those, with the time and the resources that wealth affords you. And I'm telling you, it's worth striving for. I slept in my car. When I first moved to Arizona, I slept in my car a few days because I didn't have a place to live. I had about $500 in my pocket. I needed to get a place. I rented a room. It was quite an experience, but I met some people that were also renting rooms, and they became my roommates. And some of those have gone on to become very successful people. And they've kind of taken the same road I have. Now, I was in my 20s, and we're still really, really good friends, and we talk business, we talk life, and it's so fun to watch those people develop and to grow, and they're such great people, and to see them doing great things with their, I wouldn't say newfound wealth, but their hard-earned wealth that they didn't have when I was renting a room, because we were all pretty much in the same boat. When I first got to town, I worked at a place called Peter Piper Pizza. And the reason that I wanted to work there was because I like pizza and I like free food. And I know that free food is a benefit of working at a restaurant. So I got a job there. They actually hired me as a manager. I didn't know the first thing about restaurant business. But I worked hard and I kept moving up in the company, and then they ended up giving me my own store. And then I ended up becoming a corporate trainer over 22 stores. So then I end up getting a better, believe it or not, I got a better opportunity with Jack in the Box, the restaurant. And I end up going to corporate, or I actually worked my own stores. And then I end up going to corporate also and helping out with the We Don't Make It Till You Order It campaign. And that campaign is still in effect today. And I actually helped roll that out in like 1998 or 99, somewhere around there. One of the best things that I ever did was I had a boss, and he said, hey, we have an opening for an area manager. And at that time, back in the 90s, they were all making six figures, and that sounded like a fantastic thing to me. And I asked him, what do I have to do to get your job? And he looked at me and he says, well, we don't hire anybody that doesn't have an MBA. I'm like, damn it. All right, it's time to go sign up for school. And I did that. I made the sacrifice. I took the test. I barely got in to Arizona State University. I did the night classes. I was working all day, and then I did the night classes. My ex-wife at the time, or my wife at the time, now ex-wife, she didn't see me for 2 years. Now, I was leaving for work at 6 in the morning, and at 6 in the evening, I would go to class and be there until 10. And then I'd come home and repeat. And it was grueling, and it was tough, and there was times I didn't think that I would actually make it. But I did. I got through it. I made it. I got my degree. And then you know what happened? I quit Jack in the Box. So I never even got to apply for that job. And the reason I did is because I ended up getting a better job, a better restaurant job, went to a different company, and my MBA was a big reason for that. I still hated it, though. To be honest with you, the hours were terrible. I'm traveling all over the country. I'm opening up restaurants. It was a grueling life. And finally, the restaurant concept that I was with, they were a franchise concept, and they sold about 3 or 4 different franchises, and I was in charge of helping open them up, hire the staff, train, do opening day, and then support for the next week during the opening. And you can imagine that is 80 to 100 hours per week, 7 days a week, every day working. And on the road, it was grueling. So one of the best things that ever happened to me was they started failing. And they came to me one day and they said, we're going to have to let you go. And you know what? I've talked about this parable, or this story that's on YouTube called The Chinese Farmer. And you should look it up. Alan Watts does a great rendition of it. It's only like 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes long, but you should definitely look it up. But the moral of the story, or the premise of the story, is sometimes bad things happen for a good reason. And I truly believe that bad thing, that I lost my job, I lost my paycheck, I lost my health insurance, was actually the best thing that's ever happened to me. Because then I was done with the restaurant business. I got my real estate license. I found a home. I fixed it up, did all the work myself. My brother came out. We did all the work ourselves. 6 weeks later, the home was done. It was beautiful. It was transformed from this ugly piece of shit to an absolutely gorgeous piece of property that anybody would be proud to own. I put it on the market at 9 o'clock in the morning, got an offer at noon, full price, cash, and it closed a couple weeks later, and I made $32,000. And I thought, holy cow, this is my road to independence. I can do this. I don't have to answer to anybody. I can work my own hours, and I can determine how much money I'm going to make. My boss doesn't tell me how much money I can make. I determine how much money I can make. So we did 10 to 12 more properties that year. I don't remember exactly, but it was a lot. And I started buying 2 houses at a time, 3 houses at a time, and working on them. And I hired some crews, and I'm running ragged. I am definitely working 70, 80, 90 hours a week, but it was so fun. And I enjoyed it so much because I knew the reward at the end of the rainbow was coming to me and not to another company and not to my boss. And it wasn't trickling down and I would eventually get a piece of it. I knew that I was in control and made, I don't know, $400,000 to $500,000 that year. And this is back in 2001, 2002. No, I'm sorry. This was back in 2004 and 5 and 6 when the market was really hot. To me, I'd hit the jackpot because I had just come from a $50,000 to $60,000 a year job that was grueling and I hated it. So find a passion, find what you like to do, and just, I wouldn't say jump. Don't quit your job tomorrow because you're not going to get paid for a while as you start your own company. And there are going to be things that are very expensive at getting on your own, but you can work into it. Now back to the country club. So a lot of these properties that I was buying, these fix and flips, they would sell them at the auction. And let's say that they sold a house for $200,000 or $300,000. I had to pay for it within 24 hours. Now where the hell am I going to get that kind of money? I didn't have that kind of money, but through the country club and through my networking and through friends, and I actually joined some networking groups here in town. Matter of fact, one of my biggest investors who has been investing with me now for well over 10, 12 years, I met at a networking group, not even at the golf course. I was just at a networking group. A friend of mine and I went. He knew somebody who knew them. We got to talking. We got to talking about what I was doing. I met this lady, and she says, well, you should talk to my husband because we have some funds that we need to invest, and he really likes real estate, so let's talk to him. And he has been a loyal investor of mine ever since. So if I need a couple $100,000 or $300,000 or $500,000 to take down a property at the auction in 24 hours, not only do I have this person, but I've got 10 more just like him. How did I get that many? By being a man of my word, doing what I say. Of course, real estate is secure, so they don't mind giving money on a secure property. But I can go up to any of those people now because I've been doing it for so long, and they've seen my work. They've seen they've seen what happens. They see how I sell the properties. They know that I am not blowing that money on luxury cars, luxury vacations. Matter of fact, I have plenty of money and plenty of assets. But the newest car that I own right now is a 2008, and I just bought it. Now, it's a sports car. It is a Lamborghini, but that is the newest car that I own. My other cars are a 2007. I have a Hummer. That's a 2007. I have a work truck that is a 2002, and then I have a little beater car that I like to take to Vegas because it's scratched up, dented up. I don't care what happens to it. It gets great gas mileage, and it's a 2007. They see that. They see that I'm not driving around in a brand new Mercedes or a brand new Lexus, or I'm leasing, some really high-end car. I'm working my ass off. I give them their checks every single month. They get a nice return, and they're willing to do this over and over and over. Hopefully those stories have helped you, and thanks for letting me share a little bit about my life. I didn't actually know where this episode was going to go, and I'm glad it went that way. So now you know a lot more about me, and we're going to interview a lot more people in kind of this fashion to see kind of how they got their wealth and what they did and the smart things that they did. And then also talk about their crazy-ass sugar dating stories, which is going to be so much fun. Anyway, follow us on Instagram and Facebook. I'm really trying to build the following. I really appreciate you giving us a follow. We are trying to get some sponsors and get the word out. And of course, the more likes that we have. Unfortunately, social media is a huge influence, and that's why they have influencers. But if you go to our Instagram, Secrets of a Sugar Daddy, and our Facebook, give us a like. I would so appreciate that. And then please keep sending us the feedback on our website, secretsofasugardaddy.com. These are great emails, great messages, and I love sharing those with you. So until next episode, bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to connect or even be on the show, we'd love to hear from you at secretsofasugardaddy.com.